video, we're going to talk about blocking. And so this is the before shot. So I have a little coaster here that I've made, and it has little sections of purl stitch, knit stitch, purl stitch, knit stitch, purl stitch. And you can see it's a little wobbly, and it's likely always to be a little bit wobbly, but we can even this out some through blocking. So the first step is to take this piece and soak it in some, coolish warm water. Especially this is real wool, so you don't want warm water, it can shrink it. But some coolish warm water and just a tiniest bit, I use Woolite, so just the tiniest bit of Woolite in there, and you mix that together first, then put your piece in and set a timer and let it soak for 10 minutes. Okay, so after it has soaked, then you want to rinse it in water. Just rinse, don't squeeze, pull, stretch, just rinse until all of the soap is out. And then you need 2 towels. This is a tiny project, so I only need a tiny towel. I'm actually going to use this towel twice. So what you do, I brought a little tub with my water to show you. You do not squeeze it out really, so gentle. This is not like a big smush at all, just the tiniest bit of a press. And then you lay it at one edge of your towel and you roll it up in the towel to get the water out. Okay, and that is where you can do a little bit more pressing. And then you unroll it, still a little damp, so I usually move it to a dry part of the towel and I do it again. I roll it up. Okay, and then one more time. And it actually, because wool is magic, it actually now feels pretty dry already at this point, even though it is not at all dry. But now I'm going to get a dry towel. And I'm going to lay the towel out somewhere that I can leave it for a while. And you can actually get blocks. They're kind of like foamy blocks with pins that you can pin down. I actually don't use those usually. I just use towels. Although if I do need to pin a piece into place, I can like double, or even, this is a double layer towel. I could even do another layer if I needed to. And I could just put push pins right in here. I might do that if I'm blocking a sweater, for example, and want the stitches to lay a certain way. So this is when you now just carefully arrange your piece, because however it dries is how it is going to look later. So if you had any stitches that were wobbly or kind of not the exact shape that you wanted, this is the time that you have an opportunity to just sort of help them get into a happy place so your work looks nice and even. And then you just leave this to dry. For a piece like this, probably 24 hours will be just fine. If it's a sweater, I've had some sweaters that took as long as 4 days to dry, if it's a thick sweater, for example. So you just leave it until it dries, and that is how you block your work. Here we are the next day, and you'll see how much flatter and more evenly the stitches lay. It's not as wavy wobbly. It's more just like a nice piece of fabric, and that is all thanks to the blocking. So while this wouldn't necessarily be required on something like a coaster, it certainly would be essential for something more like a sweater or other garment. So I hope that's helpful.